All right, today I will run you through a class. Actually, this is going to be a class geared for men, because I've got my partner here, or for beginners so that they can start to, get used to doing yoga. So I'm going to have Daniel stand sideways for me for just a second. So Daniel's much taller than me, right? So I've talked about how every cue in yoga might not be meant for you personally. What we're trying to do is get a room full of different body types all to the midline, right? So if you look at me next to Daniel, his ass sticks out more, right? So I've got natural gymnastics dismount, right? He has a little bit of olive oil or hips forward kind of thing. So if I was in a classroom, I would cue him to stick his butt out more, right? Yeah, stick his honey out. Oh, such a cute little honey, right? So, don't do that to your students. By the way, I have consent for adjustments. So what I'm going to ask him to do is stick his honey out a little bit more, right? Tucking his tailbone is not a good cue. So as you go through class, what you're looking for whenever a teacher is talking is, did that bring you to center, right? So today, a lot of my cueing is going to be more for him. I'm going to give you cueing a little bit for what I would naturally do in a class as well, but just note, today's class is going to help people with this kyphotic lower back, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have him look down at his toes. Toes are at second toes are at 12 o'clock, and then I'm going to ask him to feel a little bit of curve in his low back. He does that by pulling his belly in and then letting his tailbone come to me a little bit. Yeah. So did you see how he naturally suck your belly in again? No, just drop your shoulders. Just suck your low belly in. There you go. When he did it earlier without concentrating, it drew his tailbone down. Now that he's concentrating on sticking his tailbone out and drawing the belly in, it's not moving in the pelvis. So we're going to focus on that today. All right, so we're going to start with sun salutations. I'm going to ask Daniel to inhale, lift your arms up. And as you swan dive, really stick your hiney out and bring your hands to the floor. All right? And so we're going to stay here in this forward fold a minute. I'm going to ask him to curl his head towards his shins. I'm going to ask him to feel the place where his tailbone is, and then not only stick it back towards the door behind him, but start to push down through the feet and take the tailbone up a little bit as he relaxes his head down. Now, he's going to hold this position and breathe really deeply in and let the breath do the stretch. And then exhale, he's going to see if the posture becomes a little more comfortable. He's going to take a deep inhale in, letting the breath do the stretching rather than forcing this posture. And then when he's ready, he's going to exhale deeper. He's going to take one more inhale, take a deep, deep breath, and then exhale, he's going to curl in as much as he can, folding down. Now this next inhale, he's going to come up flat back into Betty Boop. He's going to bring his hands onto his shins. Now straighten your legs. See how his low back wants to round? When he straightens his legs, he's going to try to keep his belly button in and flatten that part of his back a little more. See how his butt went back because of it? Exhale, he's going to forward fold and put his hands back down onto the mat. He's going to use his left leg to step back. He's going to find his lunge. Now Daniel's really tall, and most men are on our mats. So he's going to shimmy that foot back a little bit more. He's going to feel this nice long straight line from his back heel as he inhale, flips his hands off the mat, keeps that flat back, and he's going to extend through the crown of his head, back through his heel. Lift your back heel a little more, Daniel. There you go. Hands down, go to down dog. Since this is his first down dog of the morning, he's going to pedal his feet, kind of wiggle around, and start to enjoy this posture. One of the things that happens in a yoga class is that we see this cupping in the webbing. He's going to press his thumb and his index finger down. He's going to relax these Vulcan death grip muscles. Relax those. And how does he do that? He does that by turning his biceps a little forward and spreading this out, letting that head go. There you go. So he's going to take a deep breath. Inhale, See how his knees are rolling in just a little bit? We're going to take those knees and line them up straight. Yeah. Keep everything there. Don't move your hands. I'm going to lengthen your spine. I'm just going to pull back a little bit. Stretch his spine out. Wonderful. On his next inhale, he's going to come to push-up position, plank position. He's going to hold this plank because I'm going to begin to stretch that top knot, his man bun forward. So try to touch those windows over there, Daniel, with your man bun. And then at the same time, try to touch your heels. No, too far back. There you go. Just reach through your heels. There you go. Now reach through the crown of your head more for 5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead and bend your elbows and lower halfway down. Flip your feet over. Come to the shoelace sides of your feet. Push your feet down more. So let's start with the feet. So Daniel, because of this low back, move your hands forward just a little bit, baby. There you go. Because of this low back, he has a hard time coming to up dog, right? So I'm going to ask him to bring his legs together. He's going to push his feet down. So try to smash my hands under. There you go. Now, push your hips down. Push your pelvis down. Lengthen through the back of your neck. There you go. Squeeze your elbows in. There you go. So for him, cobra is best. All right? He's going to push back to a child's pose. He's going to put his lift his hips up and sit back onto his feet. There you go. Let him stay here for a moment. I know I'm doing a lot of physical adjustments on him. When he's agreed to be my partner. He's also agreed to be the partner in this training. So I'm going to give him a little love. Note that if you're going to yoga class and stuff, we're not able to touch and guide as much. So start trying to do this in your own practice. All right, go to down dog for me. All right. And so notice Daniel's really tall, so he takes up almost all of his mat. He's going to inhale and take his left leg to the sky. And so one of the things that you can feel when you're in down dog, push through your hands, Daniel, straighten your arms and try to push. Yes, look at how nice that pose is. Now keep all of that there while I move my hand. On your next exhale, step to lunge. Okay. Now on your inhale, lift your fingers off the mat part way. And shift his hips in a little bit. There you go. And then on his next exhale, he's going to take his hands down and he's going to step into forward fold. Now here I'm going to ask him to take his feet as wide as the mat, grab a hold of his elbows with his thumbs inside the crease, and then just kind of waver the upper body left and right. Let it swing like a pendulum. And so for Daniel, this forward fold's probably still a lot of work. His hamstrings are resisting, so I'm going to ask him to really kind of let go with the upper body. You can keep your hands hanging there. Draw your navel in to my finger, and now push the floor away. Stretch and reach through the backs of the legs. So he's going to soften. Breathe into your hamstrings. There you go. Wonderful. Exhale, soft. And I'm going to ask him to drop his arms. He's going to bend his knees deeply. And he's going to roll up to standing. He's going to find his mountain pose. And he's going to kind of shake it off. And so notice how Daniel's a little back from the top of his mat. This happens in sun salutation, so I'm going to ask him to step forward so that when he steps back to his lunge, he'll take the full step back. If you're not all the way back on your mat, you won't step all the way back. All right, so now we kind of went through that. We're going to actually do that with the breath. So we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. On your exhale, you're going to forward fold, sticking your hiney out, swan dive. There you go. You're going to bring your hands onto your shins, come halfway up, flatten your back, stick your hiney out. Exhale, hands down, step back with the right foot into low lunge. So for him, he'll shimmy that right foot back a little bit more and make sure. So this is one of the things we do. We send back through the heel too much. We want the heel right there so that the foot is nice and flat. On his next inhale, he'll float his heart off that front thigh. Keep this hip tucked in. On his exhale, he'll put his hands down and step back to down dog. Inhale, he will float to plank position, push-up position. Nice strong line from heels to head. Exhale, lowers all the way down for this morning. Legs come together. Shoelaces down. Press your feet down so much so, and your hips down so much so your knees are no longer on the mat. Elbows in. And on your exhale, you're going to push back to a child's pose. Stretch it out. So as Daniel stays here in this child's pose, he's going to try to relax those inner hips and that low back. He's going to utilize his next inhale to come up to all fours, and his exhale goes to down dog. He's going to inhale and take that right leg up high, and he's going to think about pressing through my hand as though it's there. Exhale is going to bring the right foot to low lunge. So make sure the distance in there is good. So shimmy your front foot forward a little bit more. There you go. Now inhale, float. Exhale, hands down, step forward, forward fold. Hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, comes all the way up, reaches up, stretches up. Let's go right back into it. Exhale, swan dive. Starting to create a cadence here, a beat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down, left foot steps back to low lunge. Move your hands back some more, babe. There you go. Inhale, float. Exhale, hands down, step back to your down dog. Inhale, floats to plank pose, push-up position. Exhale, lowers all the way down. Excuse me. Feet together, feet down, pubic bone down, hard up. Exhale, child's pose, push the hips back. Inhale, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left foot high. Exhale, left foot to left thumb, low lunge. So get the foot all the way back up by the thumb. Scooch it up, scooch it up. There you go. Inhale, floating low lunge. Exhale, hands down by the feet. Step forward, forward fold. Back by the feet a little more. Hands to the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. See if you can straighten your legs a little more now. There you go. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Reach up, stretch up. Try to flat back your way up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down. Step back with the right foot. So, inhale, float up. Exhale, put your hands down, back by your heel. There you go. That's your hand placement. If your hands aren't there when you step back, you're always going to have to shimmy more distance between your hands, all right? Step back to down dog. The cupping in your hands is pressing down. Index fingers are forward at 12 o'clock. Yeah. Inhale, floats to plank, push-up position. Strong core. This is all about abs. Exhale, halfway or all the way down. You're either doing cobra like him or up dog. Legs are together. Heart is open. Shoelaces are down. Exhale, presses back to child's pose. Inhale, comes up to hands and knees. Exhale, we'll go to down dog. Inhale, right leg will go high. Exhale as right foot steps by right thumb, so get it all the way up there. Wiggle, 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 more. Inhale, floats. And then exhale, hands down, come to the top of your mat and forward fold. Kind of hang out there, take the feet wide. So this is the deal, guys. If you don't have a setup with your feet, use the space of the inhale to set up and don't float, right? So that that inhale of the float of your lunge is either to set up the pose to get the proper distance or to actually float, right? I'm going to ask you to bend your knees and roll all the way up. All right, so I'm noticing Daniel's really gripping with his toes. I'm going to ask him to lift his toes, lift and spread, 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 and put them down like you're about to grab a t-shirt, right? And leave them like that. So they're still spread, but you haven't completely grabbed the shirt. There's some gripping there, but they're spread. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. All right, so from here, we're going to bring our toes together and keep that, our big toes to touch, and keep that same theory with the spreading of the toes, right? And so from here, you're going to inhale and have a seat, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold, hands down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, hands down. He can step or hop back. Okay. Exhale, all the way down for him. Those of you who are coming to up dog are more than welcome to do that. He's doing king cobra today. And then he's going straight to down dog for this one. And so as he goes straight to down dog, he's going to shorten your stance just half an inch. There you go. He's going to inhale and take his left leg to the sky, reach it up. And then exhale, his left foot is going to step up by left thumb. So don't move your hands, keep your hands flat. There you go. Step your foot up as far as it can with hands flat. There you go. Nice. Scoot it up a little more. There you go. Now, he's going to inhale, come up to high runner's lunge, which means he's going to take his hands all the way up to the ceiling this time. All right? And so, like everyone, he tends to roll this hiney out a little bit. Yep. All I needed him to do is do this spiral under, and it brought his knee back in alignment. I'm going to ask him to bring his hands in prayer position behind the nape of his neck, bending his elbows and squeezing them in. As he inhales, he lifts up, holding up. As he exhales, he starts to take the heart up and back. This back leg is the propeller leg. Inhale, reach up through the elbows and the back heel. Exhale, take a little more back bend. Inhale, comes up, straightens those arms to the sky. Straighten your arms to the sky. There you go. And then exhale goes to down dog or child's pose, whichever helps. Whichever one you want to do. Now you can stay in this down dog, or you can float to float to plank. Exhale halfway, inhale up dog, exhale down dog. So it's up to you what you want to do. He is still doing his cobra pose. It's fine. I actually like cobra pose because it strengthens the back body a little more, but that's my personal opinion, right? All right, so this time he's going to take the right leg high. I'm going to have to adjust this so I'm in both cameras at the same time. There we go. And then he's going to step it to his lunge. All right. And so once he finds his lunge, he's going to inhale and come up. This back leg is the strong leg, so I'm going to ask him to lift his heel a little bit. Make sure this hip is under. Drop your hands in prayer behind the nape of your neck. Squeeze the elbows in. Now once he's got that, he's going to inhale and feel the heart go high. Exhale, straighten your back leg more. Inhale, heart high. Exhale, straighten back leg more. Bend that front knee, bend that front knee. Front knee bends. There you go. 3. Shoot, back leg straight. And 1. On his inhale, he straightens his arms up. On his exhale, he puts his hands down and goes to down dog. He can stay in down dog. He can go to child's pose, regain his breath, or he can do his flow, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. It's up to him what he wants to do. And you too. All right. So we're going to ask him to inhale and take his left leg to sky once again. Exhale as his left foot steps by left thumb. This time his back heel is going to rotate in and down. He is looking for being on train tracks. Traditional teaching says heel to heel alignment. It's too much. 4 inches between the space of his heels. Yeah, so 1 foot's on the left side, 1 foot's on the right side of the mat. On his inhale, he's going to come up to warrior 1, arms in one direction facing the top of his mat. arms in one direction, up. My bad, I'm not teaching you well. Sorry. So now we're opening this back hip flexor. I want him to press down through this pinky toe more of this back leg, and then reach up through this side without crowding his ears. There you go. So the fingers are reaching up, but the shoulders are staying in place. Take a deep inhale in, feel this whole right side start to open. Exhale, feel the belly move in. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, places his hands down on the floor or on blocks either side of the front foot. He's tall, so blocks are going to make this pose feel better, right? So I'm going to ask him to straighten his front leg and then bow towards that front shin. So as he breathes, he's looking to push his heels into the floor, both heels. Inhale. And so as he inhales, he starts to feel the big toe of the front foot. Pull this left crease back. Exhale, bow a little deeper. Take a deep inhale, feel the inhale of the stretch. Get deeper. Exhale, yes, there you go. We'll take one more deep inhale. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, deep, 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 deep. Inhale, bends that front knee. Step back to your down dog on your exhale. Inhale, floats to your plank position. Exhale, lowers halfway or all the way. Cobra or up dog, whichever one serves you. So come down for me a little bit more, Daniel. There you go. Really press this down. So stretch. Try to reach your toes back. Yeah, reach your toes back. There you go. Elbows in. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Down dog. So what I was doing there, sometimes people, when they try to put their feet down in the top of the mat, they're actually like pushing their knuckles down rather than reaching long through the foot and pushing the top of the foot down. All right. Inhaling and exhaling. Breathe for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale as right foot steps up by right thumb. He's going to take time. He's going to spin the back heel down and make sure one leg's on train track, each train track, right? And then when he's ready, he's going to inhale and come up into that warrior posture. So as he tries to smash, there you go. Smash my toes with that heel. He's also going to imagine my toes are underneath that other heel too. And he's going to push down rather than out. Yeah. Now, feel your big toes squeeze towards one another. So as though you're trying to shorten the mat with the big toes. There you go. Now take a deep inhale right through here. Exhale. Deep inhale, long neck, soft jaw. Exhale. Deep inhale in. And exhale. Wonderful. He's going to put his hands down on the blocks on either side of his front foot, framing his front foot. He's going to straighten his legs and even move the blocks back by your heel a little more. In the same place that we put the heel of the hand when the hand is down is still the same place even if it's on a block. All right? Now I'm going to ask him to exhale and bow. So inhale and exhale. So he's going to use the big toe of the front foot to press. There you go. He's going to still focus on turning that tailbone up. So he's going to try to push his tailbone towards me or my knuckle. Sorry. There you go. Deep inhale in. Take the deepest breath in without lifting out of it. Stay down. Take a deep inhale in, staying there. Stay, stay, stay. Hold it. Exhale deeper into the toes. Now stay in that position and take a deep inhale. And exhale deeper. Very good. When you're ready, step back to your down dog or child's pose, whichever benefits you the most. If you would like to flow in this position, go for it. Shift your toes back more. There you go. Exhale to your down dog. Wonderful. All right, next posture, we're going into is warrior two. I'm going to ask him to inhale his left leg up. Exhale, this time the foot's going to land dead center of the mat in between his hands, the longest step you can get. So usually we're lining up with thumb, now we're lining up with fingertips, so we've got a little more distance. He's going to pivot his back foot down, so he's got heel to arch alignment. He's going to look at his front heel, draw a straight line to his back arch. When he comes up, he's going to inhale, come up, his arms are going to go east to west, floating over those legs. So what we're doing here is we're pressing the back thigh back, so push your thigh into me, there you go. And we're pressing the front thigh down, so push this thigh down, push into me. In through the nose, out through the nose. It looks like he's lifting his arms, but he's holding his arms up, and then he's going to press down on this air current. So push down on my hands for me. Push, if you're trying to push me away. See how your back is firing up instead of your neck? Mm-hmm. Keep the arms here and have that for 4, 3, 2. We're going to get a side body stretch. He's going to take this front arm and put it right above the knee. And he's going to take this top arm first, reach out in front of him, pull this whole shoulder back, so pull that shoulder back, and then he can slide the arm over the ear. What happens is if you try to take the arm over the ear and the shoulder's not open, it just kind of never gets there, right? So I'm going to ask him to inhale. As he exhales, he's going to bend that front knee. He's going to pull this shoulder out of the ear. So he's going to let this whole upper body weight just go through the bone of his arm, down through his shin, down through his heel. So this posture should get a little lighter if he presses. Pull your rib cage and abs in, so don't let me touch your belly. There you go. There you go. 3, 2, and 1. Hands down. He'll go to down dog or flow for a couple breaths. Wonderful. We're going to do that on the other side. He's going to inhale the right leg up. The right foot's going to step dead center of his hands. As soon as he does that, he's really going to wiggle it up. And he's going to send the back heel down and come up into his Virabhadrasana to warrior two. Whenever he's ready. So generally, he can take this front foot forward a little more. Yeah, and bend that front knee a little more. Generally, your feet are underneath your wrists. He's pressing down. He's pushing this thigh bone back, so push this thigh into me. This hip is shifting forward a little bit for him, so I'm wanting to push down through the pinky toe edge and then push back. There you go. See how it made his knee go forward? That's just going to happen, right? Try to push your knee open and his thigh back. Open. 3, 2, looks really good. And 1. Forearm on front knee. Top arm's going to reach over, but then he's going to pull his whole shoulder back. So this is already in the pose. Then he takes that line. Daniel has this tendency, and a lot of people do on this left hip, to roll it in. So what I want you to do is still focus on pulling it. So feel like your feet are trying to squeeze toward, like trying to crunch my foot in between them. So squeeze them together. There you go. 3. Don't let me touch your upper belly. Pull your upper abdomen. 2. Smile. It releases dopamine. And 1. Down dog. Inhale, float to plank. Exhale, lower. Up dog or cobra. Cobra legs are together. Toes are reaching. Yep. Exhale, down dog. Wonderful. He's going to stay here for a few breaths. He's going to bend his knees, look at the top of the mat, and he's going to do a little bunny hop to the top of the mat. He's going to inhale into his Betty Boop, or halfway lift. Exhale, it looks so much better. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale comes all the way up, reaches up, stretches up. And then exhale, hands at the sides. He's going to shake all out. So I want to give a little caveat. I'm going to call balance postures. As you guys know, if you've been in a class with me, I don't practice balance with you guys because your eye is always attracted to the instructor. So if I move, then you move. Daniel's got an extra sense of effort because he's the only one in the room for me. So I'm going to give him this little balance caveat that, like, you know, your balance will be better when you're not on film and the only one in the room demonstrating. It's just how it is, right? So I'm going to ask Daniel to come into tree pose. So I'm going to ask him to turn to the front of the, turn to the camera for you. He will start on left foot first because that's our problem child and our worst balance side, right? He's going to bring the right foot so that it's either a kickstand on his ankle, up onto his calf, or if he's feeling super froggy today, he's going to bring it up into his thigh. It's never on the knee joint itself. He can bring his hands in any position that gives him balance, out to the side, prayer, or up to the sky. Now, I'm going to step kind of out of his line of vision so I'm not shaking him by moving around. And he's going to breathe. Now, in Warrior 2, his left hip kept going forward. Guess what's probably happening in this pose too? This is Warrior 2 balancing. So if you look at what Warrior 2 is, all right, this is essentially, let me mirror it, Warrior 2 balance, right? So think about whatever you do in your Warrior 2, you're probably doing in this pose. And he's got to hold it for a couple more breaths, and when he's ready, he'll release. And shake that off, take a moment in between each balance posture, and then when you're ready, you go into the exact same posture. Even if the foot could come higher, you would not go higher on the leg. Take the same hand position. So Daniel adjusted his left hip even on this side. Okay. So Daniel's, we were talking about the whole like olive oil and gymnastics dismount. So one of the things that happens with the olive oil, a lot of times their knees bend in. So today we are going to do a one-legged chair balance. And it's essentially a hip opener and a balance. If you want to go to the wall, I'm going to let Daniel demonstrate this on the wall. So I'm going to ask him to step back to the closest wall to him and put his left side to the wall, right? And walk out from the wall just a hair so you can just like use your hand, because you're going to use your left hand on the wall for balance. He's going to figure four the right ankle over the left thigh like he's drinking beer on Sunday. He's going to take one hand onto the wall and one hand forward and sit back into that one-legged chair as much as he can. One of the reasons why I like using the wall is it forces some alignment, right? And then in this situation, he can focus on the posture rather than the balance necessarily. So his right hip is dropping. I need you to pick your right hip up. That's your other hip. There you go. So his the leg that's bent and figure four tends to drop, right? Now, he's going to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose a little more for 4, 3, 2. He's going to keep the legs and put his hands down on floor or blocks. He's going to straighten his standing leg. So, yep, straighten that leg. There you go. And bow towards his legs as much as he can. He's going to take that thought pattern of inhale, hold the inhale, hold the body, exhale, move deeper into the pose, stay there, take the inhale into that deeper place, and then exhale. Wonderful. He's rocking back a little bit. I'm going to ask him to to rock center of his standing foot a little more and straighten the standing leg a little more. And then whenever he's had enough of that, I'm going to tell him he can release and come out of it and enjoy the sensation on that side. That was sound of enjoyment. That was sound of enjoyment. All right, guys. Yeah, that's it. All right. This is making sure everything's recording correctly. Restart. So sometimes when I'm running kind of a powerful class and I want to get the hips open, but I want them to be strong as well, I'll put these type of hip openers in the beginning of or in the middle of the class, so I don't have to focus so much on hip openers at the end. And they're nice hip openers at the end. So from here, he's going to use his next exhale to slow motion, put his hands down on the blocks. Inhale, will straighten his standing leg. Exhale, will move his face closer to his standing leg. Yeah. And so his standing foot, he's going to push the floor away with it more. There you go. Move your jaw around. He's ready. I'm good. I was about to call it anyway. Yeah, I was about to call it. Yeah. All right, and then when you're ready, come on up and listen to that. Yay! Go ahead and have a seat. I'm going to grab my blocks. All right. Just on your mat towards me. All right. So we're going to do a few little back bendy things. Back bends heal your back if they're done properly. Back bends are going to be difficult for him because his low back is not in a lordotic or back bend position. It's in the opposite. So typically his back is very, very flat actually. Typically I tell students to really take it into the upper back, and that's still going to be his direction. However, I won't have to tell him to tuck the tailbone or to counter nutate the hips like I would for someone with my setup that you hear a lot in class. Fortunately, women are built a little different than men, right? So it's not a bad thing. But women tend to do this stuff, so a lot of times you'll hear cueing just for women in a class. So, hey, look at your body. So what I'd like Daniel to do is to come onto his knees, and he's going to take both blocks in between his knees like such. So they're sideways. Generally, I'll tell you to do like this way, which is a little more narrow, just one block, but I'm going to give him a little bit of space. Also, the fact that his knees roll in, if I can open them up a little bit while we do this pose, it'd be great. So I'm going to ask him to bring his fists into his low back. And to make a fist and put them right there. Now, I'm going to ask him to drop his shoulders down and then try to squeeze his shoulder blades and elbows towards one another. So see how Daniel's already got his hips forward? I don't need to direct that anymore. What I need to direct for Daniel is to lift his heart. Bring your thighs back to me just a little bit. There you go. See how it fired up your toes? Go into your low back a little bit. All right, now lift up from that low back. There you go. So if you're low belly in, don't let me touch you. There you go. Breathing is a thing, right? 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, he's going to come neutral. Exhale, he's going to go to a down dog. So he said that went into his low back, right? So what's happening this time, I'm going to have him stick his tailbone out a little more before he comes back into it. Come back down. The way I corrected it was by getting him to lift up through his neck a little more. So feet are a little wider. Overachiever, that's too wide. There you go, squeeze those blocks. Drop those shoulders down. Don't let me touch you, pull that back. There you go. Zip it up when you got it zippered in. All right. Now you're tucking your tailbone, stick your tailbone back towards that door a little bit. Just a little bit. There you go. Sit out your low back a little more. Yeah, there you go. 3, 2, and 1. Exhale, he's going to go to his down dog. Compressing the lungs. So, there you go. So, whenever you go into these deep back bends, one of the reasons why it's hard to breathe and you might get a little like release or something is because you're breathing against a bound rib cage. It's actually good for you. All right. I'm going to ask him to inhale, come to plank. Nope, leave those blocks there. I was teaching something. All right, inhale comes to plank. All right. So he's going to learn to chaturanga properly. So I've got the block set up underneath him. He's going to bend his elbows in and come halfway down. Tap those blocks, push it right back up plank. He's going to do that one more time. Come right back up plank. Oh, that looks like fun. One more time, just for shits and giggles. And back up and down dog. Why did I do that? Because he's doing some deep, for him, a deep back bend, so this realigns and strengthens the core. I'm going to ask him to come to child's pose now. And so we have two hip openers that really get to the front of the hips and the hip flexors. We have hero's pose, which is my nemesis, because knees have to be together, right? And sitting in between. I like a little bit of support, right? And then we have double saddle, where the toes are together and the knees are wide. I'm going to have him do double saddle. Why? Because his knees roll inward naturally. I'm going to do heroes. Why? Because my knees roll out naturally. So go ahead and come up, Daniel. So I'm going to have you take your knees wide and your toes together. And you can turn on your mat if it feels better. I think there's more room that way. Yeah. Now for him, this is still even difficult. He might put his butt on a block. And then just focus on relaxing everything down. He can actually take his hands back if he wishes. I'm the same way. Look, I'm in hero's pose. Double saddle, I can lay completely back. Hero's pose, I'm like, well, I would like a little bit of block. Toes together. Around the edge of the block, yeah. Knees are wide. Wider. Now try to stick your butt out. Yeah. Like you're trying to push that block back with your butt. Yeah. Me, I don't need to stick my butt out anymore. My butt is already permanently out. So, we're just going to sit here and breathe. Okay? If you have any knee discomfort, hey, don't do this, right? Sit up higher on the block. Spread your toes. Spreading the toes helps the knees too. So pull your upper abs back, so that little V where your solar plexus are, pull that back more. And then you pull your shoulders back. So this is what I'm seeing from here. Mm-hmm. What I need to see is this.
I did it when I put my butt out.
Yeah, it's a, so you can't affect one part of the spine without affecting the other part of the spine. The spine's like a suspension bridge. Like if you tweak one side of it, it's going to cause a ripple effect through the whole spine itself. All right, well, yeah, let's been here for a minute. How you doing? It's not my favorite place either. Okay, there's a difference between discomfort and pain. Discomfort, scale on knees, scale 1 to 10, don't go above a 4 or a 5 on discomfort, all right? Same thing with necks. All right, so I'm coming out of this. You ready to come out of that thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rub the knees, tell them you love them. Tell them they are still loved. Awesome. All right. So since we're going to be seated for a minute and we're going to do some forward folding, I'm going to have Daniel take 2 blocks. It'll be easier to do that. You're going to sit on one block. You're going to let your right knee fall open, and left leg long. And then you're going to put the block behind the left knee so that you're not hyperextending the knee is what I want. All right? So what I want from him is to try to stick his butt out. So try to push that block out behind you, right? Like try to get your tailbone to reach over the back edge of the block. Not necessarily moving off of it, but like feeling that. And the whole time he comes forward, he's going to try to push his tailbone off the edge of the block as he flat backs forward. I'm going to come onto the floor. So I've never seen anybody go cookie. I've never seen anybody get a cookie by going to the mat or going to the leg. Right? You can take this block and put it underneath that knee. Yeah, put it underneath that knee. There you go. Better? You were leaning a little bit. So he's got all this like set up. Why does he have that? Because when he sits down, his low back rounds when he's flat on the floor. So now I'm just getting his hips up a little bit so he can really focus on getting that tailbone back rather than the tailbone underneath this pose. And now I'm going to just let him relax and come into the pose completely. Just like soften over that front leg. If you want to round, it's fine at this point. Okay, so why did I just say he could come out of the flat back and all that alignment and go jelly into it? It's called active facilitated stretching. And so what I'm having him do is be really strong and aligned and stay there for a moment and then relax into the pose. I wouldn't necessarily have him do that unless he was in a supported or restorative class, just going straight into a lackadaisical pose. If you're in a power class with me, you're going to realign, you're going to hold it strong, and then lower into it. Restorative, stretchy classes, you can do it straight off the bat. Okay. 2 sides, not my fault. If you don't have blocks, you can use cushions, or I suggest towels or blankets because they're a little bit firmer than any of your pillows or cushions that might be in the house. Right? And first, we're going to be active, flat back. We're going to really focus on alignment and get this active stretching in there. And so he's going to keep you rounded in the low back, maybe sit up first. Now, really try to stick your butt out. Yeah, I know. So notice how he has a harder time on this side than the other side of sticking his butt out.
Well, his leg's already like way up without even having the block under the knee.
Yeah, so you can move that block in more to be more supportive so you can focus on the pelvis itself because that's what we're working on going into. So hip openers, yeah, we've got legs involved, but hip openers are focused on opening the muscles inside the pelvis. So where this leg plugs in, and the union of the hips is what we're trying to get to. That's the reason when I do, let's see, say if I'm doing a straddle stretch free, I'll teach. I should have put my leg on the wall first. All right, so say I'm doing a straddle. I used to be really off kilter. In order to get more to this side, I actually have to take from this side, right? To look for that symmetry. It's because I'm not just stretching my inner thighs, I'm actually stretching the pelvic floor as well. Right? Let's stay here really sweet. While you do your left fold. And you can roll forward. You can kind of let them toes relax a little more. Another good way to do a similar stretch to this, you can do it on the wall, right? So for him, if I put him on the wall like this probably wouldn't feel like much, but if I let him bring his leg to me like this, you can experience that as well. So notice this is the same pose on the wall as that he's doing right now. My back's just more protected. Awesome. I'm going to ask him to roll up and come to a seated position. He can sit up on his blocks if he would like. We're just doing some simple seated twists before we leave class. So I'm going to ask you to inhale your arms up. Twist to your personal right, left hand on right knee, right hand down behind you. And then inhale, arms come back up. And exhale, you turn that way. And then inhale, arms come up. And you let your hands rest on your lap. So you can meditate in a seated position or reclining. It's up to you. Do you want to stay seated or do you want to lay down? Lay down. I don't have a blanket in here. Are you warm enough? Yeah. Okay. The reason I asked him if he was warm enough is I'm a little chilly. I'm always cold. But your body temperature drops a little bit when you go in meditation. I am going to turn this above light off for him. Something to cover his eyes with. And since I don't get to do this to you guys in class, I'll give him a little press on the shoulders. And so as you settle into your meditative space, just let the body start to feel as though it's rocking or swaying a little bit with your inhale and your exhale. So we're going to do really beginner meditation technique. And all I want you to do is count or spell the breath with your own head out. You're going to let the exhale fall from your lungs without any stress or force. And then you're going to either spell the word inhale or count until you complete the inhale and get that number. You're going to pause in the breath for a beat or two. And then you're going to exhale. Try to stretch that exhale out twice as long as your inhale. So if your inhale count was a count to 4, then try to exhale for the count of 8. If you're spelling the word exhale, then you just count it a little slower. E. Okay. And so whatever keeps your mind more focused on the cadence of this breath, that's what you need to focus on. The mind wanders to other thoughts of your to-do list or things that are happening in your life or people, places, things of any type. Just slowly, kindly, as though it's the 2 or 3-year-old child, bringing the mind back to the breath. notice how the mind tries to take over, tries to take control of the thoughts and the moment itself. And acknowledge it and bring it back to a place in the breath, like a chunk in your stomach. Each exhale releases any tethers or tightness that feels like it's draining, feels like it might be resistance. And you still that way. Now you're going to start to spread that energizing inhale all the way down the legs and feel some gentle movements in the toes and the ankles, whatever feels good to you. And the next couple inhales, we're going to take the breath down, shoulders down the arms, and out into the fingertips and do a little wiggle and move with the fingers and the legs. Becoming more and more alive, more and more present in the moment. And then on your next inhale, with your eyes closed, roll over onto whatever side feels best. So you're curling up in your own bed. Lowest arm supports the head like a pillow. And just let your body rest here for a moment. Top arm and hand on the next inhale. Now push up to a seated position. Eyes remain closed. And drop the cloth from the eyes anytime. Sitting tall, hands resting open on your lap. Utilize your next inhale to stretch the arms up, reach up. Bringing the hands down in prayer through the center line to your chest. Thank you. I thank you for allowing me to guide you through a practice today. Let your minds be open, your hearts full and steady. Good job, babe.